unlike SK Telecom, has not really been one of them.
Yeah. So for first pick, we might see, again, as you mentioned, Kalista or Alistar. Most likely Alistar, though.
I think Alistar, because KT has definitely preferred Lucian this season. So take away Alistar. If they take Kalista, they're not going to have an optimal laning partner because Thresh is banned and Alistar was first picked. So you'd have to go into... they don't have Trundle either, so perhaps even a Braum again. And that's not going to be too great if KT doesn't go for a poke composition. So Kalista Corki could be the quick pickups, but that would show the mid lane immediately. But denying the Kalista Alistar combo definitely useful. It's not like Arrow can't play it, it's just that that hasn't been top tier priority for this KT Rolster team this season.
They seem to do better on Lucian, though, and they're taking away the Nidalee pick from the last game, showing a lot of respect for Score. In general, Greg is definitely also one of his better champions.
Yeah, not truly a part of the meta right now, but always an outside shot. We could see it. And the Nidalee was actually banned against mFire by SK Telecom in Game 3 of their last match. Crush has really done well individually on the Nidalee this season, and to the degree it has drawn the ban. Score, though, with a larger pool, I would say, than either of the SKT junglers, so they may not consider it quite as much of a threat. But giving over that Corki, not a surprise. KT snap that up immediately. Score can still play the Graves and the Rek'Sai.
Rek'Sai definitely feel like with Elise or Graves actually, the stronger champions in the jungle.
Yeah, Graves hugely powerful right now. Score certainly capable of playing these AD carries as a former AD carry himself. So Corki will be picked up again. Don't know where that one is going quite yet. Or Arrow.
Could be flex both mid and AD at this point. Zilean could also be played again with these.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it would be another strong pick. I think if you're looking for those dives again, there's no reason not to pick it here. You have two strong burst AD carries with good gap closers. Get underneath the turrets with the Alistar and make it work.
Victor, very highly contended mid lane pick as of now. My biggest question is, what is Hippo going to play today?
Yeah, that's it, right? Poppy may come through here for Hippo. This would be his first attempt at a more carry-oriented top laner. No guarantees that is not a support Poppy, however. It's happening again.
Oh, no.
Oh, Poppy at the end, so flipping it at the last second. I heard the Korean caster sigh over that pick too. I think we're all done with top Nautilus, Justin.
Yeah. As much as I love that champion, just not in the meta at this point. And Fiora could be Fiora, one of some of these better champions, played it 3 times, won every single game with that.
So they're going right back to what won them the first game, and they'll just lock in the Zilean again and say, hey, we know the Victor's in that mid lane, so we'll just sit here and play wave clear wars early. But late game, we're going to have, again, a ton of gap closers on KT. Everybody can get under those turrets nearly instantaneously for the dives. And someday, if they get a kill in the backside onto Fiora ult, means they'll have a nice healing pad underneath the turret also. So a formidable dive composition from KT.
Yeah, with the Zilean ult, Fiora can just go ham in that back line and not worry about dying. So Fiora being alive twice, that's bad news.
Yeah, heal, Chrono Shift revive, looking good for KT, and that will mean the Corki in the AD carry position once again for KT Rolster.
So Tom can support coming in, possibly.
Who knows, Justin? We've seen Hippo play Tom Kench in the top lane. That would be what I would think they're going to do, just because Hippo doesn't really seem to have champions like Poppy available for him to play in his champion pool. But they've got until 20 seconds for them to switch it over. So I'd assume this is Guger, Kalista, Poppy, trying to take advantage of the strength of Kalista's ultimate with melee supports, getting them right into the enemy's face with the Fate's Call.
So how is Poppy's support, by the way?
Great.
Great.
Very good. And let's talk about the adjustment here, because having the Poppy support, or Poppy top, but having the W with Poppy stopping all those dashes is actually going to be incredibly important to stuffing the dive from KT. And having it on support means that it'll be with your core wave clear much more of the time, and therefore easily able to delay or stop those dashes from coming in the dive. So I think picking up the Poppy here and putting it in support is a nice adjustment. They also have Tahm Kench to eat the allied champions and make sure that they are safe during these dives. So EMFire has adjusted well, I think, with their composition. They can snatch people out with Fate's Call, they can put people in Tahm Kench, and they can try and turtle. That's how we're going to see them probably play in this first, or the second game of the series rather. KT looking to do exactly what they did in game number 1. We're going to get underway. Game 2, EMFire KT right now.
Everybody wants to rule the world. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands while the
한사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Here we go, EMFire looking to get back into this match. KT Rolster seeing if they can close this one out.
생성까지 30초
Be the same
남았습니다.
strategy from them effectively with this mid zillion. Dive, dive, dive. EMFire though, they've got a lot of escape tools this time that they didn't have in game number 1.
Great scaling overall in general too.
Yeah, nice scaling. They've got lots of targets for Tahm Kench, lots of damage coming from Crush and Edge and Soul in the late game. Certainly true. So KT just needs to up their level of execution because EMFire
생성되었습니다.
going to have so many ways to get them out from underneath the turret again. Hard to dive against the Poppy W, hard to dive against the Poppy ult. Hard to dive when Poppy is getting ulted by Callista or when Edge is getting eaten by Tahm Kench. It's a creative solution to the game 1 problem. Full disengage. But that said, still going to be a pretty passive style of play because the problem with EMFire is that beyond the Callista ult, they don't really have a lot of engage here, so if they have to use that for disengage, they may not be able to force the fights in the late game that they really want.
Yeah, but most likely they're trying to look to kite backwards and just try to survive with this sort of a composition. Have a lot of disengage, so that's an upside.
Yeah, definitely have that kite ability here.
Standard lane this time instead of a lane swap coming in.
Yeah, I think KT wanted to avoid this situation, but they are going to have to deal with the Callista Poppy lane early. They do get the faster level 2, so they'll be able to push forward, at least for the first wave. And much better wave clear too from EMFire this time around, at least in the mid lane.
They're doing this for the second game now, the casting. I have so much respect for Doa. Like how he throws out these jargons and stuff like that in this kind of a time span, I don't know how he does it. Owen?
You're doing great. It's an art. It takes practice. All right, Cougar going to come in right now. Arrow has to Valk out. Ignar still trying to trade, but minions in the way, so EMFire going to take some hits onto Arrow right there. We end up things just about even when the dust settles on the top side. Score not having those same issues that he did in game number 1. We do see Crush looking for an opportunity in the enemy jungle, but can't find anything onto Score, at least right now, as no more 3 buffing this game.
Yeah, someday having a relatively large CS lead at this point over Hippo right now on that Tahm Kench, but
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty big problem because one thing KT does have going for it in the late game is we've seen it time and time again. Nothing is going to stop this Fiora, and certainly not a Tahm Kench. They also don't have a TP in the mid lane, so on a 1-to-1 basis, pretty dangerous here. Crush, though, with a bit of an invade, just trying to keep safe, and with that ward by the red buff, we'll see Score walking down. So cute little bit of counter jungling from Crush, and Edge is back out of that one.
yeah, being aggressive in his trades. Knowing that Graves is trying to clear his own jungle at this point.
Yeah, coming down to that bottom side. Really good invade and really good ward there from Crush. Uh-oh, Cougar in trouble though. Gets the ignite on his head. Not going to die, pops a potion. Ignar tries to make a play. They don't even burn a summoner from mFire, so holding their ground. Score is wasting a lot of time here. They know exactly where he is.
Typical Korean solo queue jungler, wait in bush for 3 minutes.
Well, it's just a great counter. It was just a great counter jungle and a great ward there from Crush. They see Graves walk down to the Krugs, and so there's a large possibility he could be in that lane. They're just going to play back. Of course, he does cover Fiora's backside as she pushes up, but Crush is going to take that advantage to get even more CS out of the jungle and really starting to expand that farm lead.
Cougar does have that ignite advantage at this point, so if they try to all in, that is an upside. They keep pushing this Tahm Kench, he can't really do much at this point. 14 CS lead, or I mean 12, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's just going to get bigger, Justin. It only gets worse from here. Unless your jungler's punishing that Fiora early in this matchup, it does cause a lot of problems.
Trying to invade here, I think, from the KT.
Just taking a look around. Edge is out of mana, actually, so he's not going to be able to keep this trade up.
Fly has to go back, though, I think.
Yeah, he's going to need a recall. Does have that TP, but it's a big change from last game. Last game, Fly was able to, on that rise, oops. Nice force on the delay there. Ignar coming through. Fly doesn't have any more damage, though, and there's a flash pull comes through. Edge still on the run. Ignar gets in a couple autos. He gets enough mana, though. Nice for the Chaos Storm, and they're going to flash over that score. Not going to be stunned by the gravity field, but good heads-up play there from Edge. Fly doesn't chrono shift himself. I don't think he had the mana to.
No, he didn't. Seemed like Edge was the one that was getting baited, but in the end, it's who comes out on top. Great seeing that kill potential.
Yeah, did all he could. Did have to use both of the summoners for it, however. Ignar here, one-on-one versus Crush, does get the knockoff. Hippo trying to follow up, does land the tongue lash. Fly is back here, though, after the TP, and this means that not really going to be able to do this Dragon.
Somebody stepping up.
Edge there, Sunday here, just trying to clear this ward, defend his pink right now. He's going for it. Ignar is here to provide the backup. Does dash backwards, loses his pink. So they'll have to give up that vision control for the moment. 5 from KT on the bottom side of the map right now. It's like they're trying to swap the lanes back. They really just want to continue this Fiora versus Tahm Kench matchup, and who can blame them?
Yeah, give a little bit of cushion to Hippo at this point with that free CS. Might be what he needs at this point because he's not been having a great time against that Fiora.
Hippos have a lot of cushion, it's true. They're quite large and bulbous. Okay, so back here in the mid lane. Zillion now, but the difference is this game, with the better wave clear from Victor, check out Edge's turret. It's not taking the same amount of just chip damage and free pushing auto attacks that Fly got last time. So they'll be able to probably elongate this game, at least when it comes to the group pushing. The big question now is how they're going to stop Fiora, who has had a very easy early game of it so far, and we haven't seen Crush been able to take that distinct advantage to this point.
And Fiora relatively does great against tanks in general, is a tank killer. So
Yeah.
when she gets those items, I don't know how she's gonna do against this Hippo, but
It's not going to be pretty. Especially, like you say, does well early against these tanks, does well late against these tanks. And Tahm Kench not really able to punish her in any real fashion right now.
seems like whenever champion gets a rework, it suddenly becomes a very strong pick in the meta.
Well, that's because Riot, I think, tends to rework champions and make champions that thrive in the current meta. So, again, the Shen is available tonight. We could see that come out. I'm curious to see when that will be picked up by the professional scene.
Yeah, it turned into more of a DPS tank with this rework.
I think it actually looks quite strong. Crush still counter jungling right here. Score forcing him off, gets an auto with that red buff.
Yeah, pretty scary to counter jungle against the Graves.
Yeah, that burst damage if you get caught on the wall, but Crush has been very confident on this ability pick. It has been his best pick so far this season. But the score caught back up in terms of farm. Crush was really running away with it early. But ever since then, Score has found ways to get the farm.
Playing a little bit aggressive.
Okay, Fly coming back over for the blue buff at the moment. Still working his way up towards the Broad of Ages. Should see a similar build to what we saw in the last game. Score is going to be the designated bomb delivery unit. One wonders why Zillion's allies willingly pick up his bombs and put them on their head to have them explode.
Team play.
Oh, Hippo actually going to get Someday right here. Crush is on the outside, and he's going to just have to force the flash. Score is here to provide the necessary backup, so there isn't follow-up from mFire. Crush actually went right into Cougar form on that one. That's a bit surprising. I thought he'd throw a spear before going into Cougar form.
That's what I thought too.
He could have just caught Someday as soon as he was spit out by Tom Kench, so not the best coordination.
Very dangerous, I guess, with Someday being flash gone. That could happen again at this point, so forcing him to play a little bit less aggressive.
That caution will be well warranted, especially with the lack of wards very far up into the top side, just one at the choke point. Well, Runic Echo's now done for Crush, and Warrior Enchant for Score. It's just going to be a game of scaling here for a little bit.
Not much is going to happen until 15-20 minute mark, I feel like. Dragon's still available.
Yeah, it's just the problem is nobody really has the opportunity to get it. There hasn't been a whole lot of action. We did see the swiftness boost start from Soul too, so very dedicated trying to just to dodge out this poke here from the Corky.
Edge actually playing very well against this Fly Zillion compared to last game when he was on the rise, so.
Yeah, if we take a look at that matchup too, you do have with Victor the ability to get that shield from your Q, so if Zillion comes up for a bomb, you can play more aggressively in retaliation and try and make that trade and take a little bit less damage from the double bomb. Also, yeah, so it's a bit of a different matchup this time around. And
TP
Edge,
being used.
and Edge really doing it well. As you said, TP comes into mid.
They've been trying to put some pressure on the boss side, maybe turn it into a dragon, but Crush has been there every single time the score's been about the boss side, so not really having the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, you see that the Cinder and the two cloth armor is trying to deal with Someday here. He did go back and get a pickaxe, but it's pretty nice of Hippo to be trading so well with the Fiora in the top side. Fiora too, lacking wave clear without that Tiamat yet. So Tom Kench, at least for the moment, able to spit those minions back out and continue to push forward into the turret.
Yeah, and then this comes from all the lane swaps that the mFire did, just so Hippo has a little bit more cushion in his laning phase, and it's turning out to be a very good choice at this point. He's trading very well.
Yeah, somebody trying to repost some of these minions, but again has to recall. He may have to burn his TP this time just to get back there and not lose much of the minion wave. But that'll give mFire an opportunity to make a play. Yeah, he immediately TPs into the top side. Hippo's doing all right in this game. There's the Tiamat completed. So at least Fiora will be able to push out now.
Tom Kench, Hippo on Tom Kench, like hungry Hippo.
It's again, we're back. Definitely a hungry Hippo this game. Hungry for his teammates. I'm not sure if that's an act of cannibalism or not.
He spits him out again, so it's like a bulimic Hippo. Bulimic Tom.
And Chaos Storm goes down. Fly actually falling low right here. Crush coming in. They're going to see the revive. Chrono Shift down on a Zillion. Score and Someday collapsing, however, and Crush. See if he gets out of this. Hippo going to come in with his own teleport. Flashes forward. Fly getting low, and they're actually going to get the kill. Thanks to Crush's spear. Score pops over into the Raptor pit. So mFire making the plays. They had the TP advantage. Someday walked into the mid lane, but the response there from mFire was good. And now, if find themselves down by about 1,000 gold.
Yeah, Hippo, completely different player from the last few games that he has played on Lawless. Maybe Tom Kench is a very comfort pick for him. He's been having a great showing on it.
Yeah, he picked it earlier this season, and there we go, Ignar, ooh, flash for flash, good reflex from Soul right there. Ignar just flashing out of that brush. Soul picks it up and successfully dodges it. No kill in response there from KT, but that's a very preferable summoner trade. Score still here on the bottom side. May try and make a play in response now. Crush just sitting there for the counter gank while he recalls. Don't want to play too offensively right now.
Yeah, this Graves has not been able to make much of an impact as when Score played Italy last game. So, because Crush has been there every single time the Score's trying to make a move. So,
yeah, that's been definitely a good read in this game by Crush. Cougar actually going to knock Arrow around. Arrow tries to kite him out. Ignar now back in the lane. Still a good trade though.
Ignar no flash though.
No flash. Still can make plays on the Callista. And this is where you have to be cautious. Here, Callista. Cougar just going to heroic charge people away, and there you go. Q going to knock Cougar back. Cougar, goodbye. Uses his hammer to get them out of there. Don't even have to use the Fate's Call to save him. That's the trouble with Callista and Poppy is following up on an engage in that 2v2. They both have ways to get you away from them.
Double disengage can't really kill him when you just knock them away.
There you go. Well, due to the sustained pressure and the better warding in the top side, will go ahead and take down that turret. Euro waiting in base there. Picks up the Titanic Hydra, and KT uses that poke damage they got onto Poppy to take out the bottom side. So each team takes a turret, and no transition immediately into Dragon from KT. They just don't have enough control over the mid lane right now to make that work.
It's definitely a different game than was played last time. With this, Victor picked up, have a significant lane clear, and Hippo has been playing better than last game also. So I think those are the two differentiating points.
Yeah, definitely. Way to clear the mid lane, and mFire looking at their first Dragon of the series. They saw the recall from Corky and Alistair, and even though they don't know where Fiora is right now, they take the risk, and it pays off. First Dragon of the game goes to mFire. They've managed to collect about a 1,500 gold lead for themselves thus far. And they look like they're really adapting well. KT came and threw the same style of composition at them again. And they've held onto it and adapted pretty admirably, considering the very fast win that KT had in game number 1.
Yeah, it's like how you adapt in between games is the bigger factor coming in.
Yeah, Val coming in with the package. Does force Crush's flash to retreat underneath that turret. So KT now wanting to set up and get some deep wards in. They are not going to contest the blue buff in the end. And they turn their sights, it's like on the mid lane. So they deny Edge the blue buff for now. Edge trying to find a time where he can go over here. They've been leashing this for quite some time already, and
good 30 seconds.
yeah, Victor will pick it up with the death ray. So back to the status quo. More wave clearance farming. This is what mFire wanted this game. Wanted to be able to react to the dives and prevent their outer turrets from going down.
What they're thinking with equal CS and equal farm into the late game, they're thinking they can beat them in team fights. So,
well, they can win the team fights. The question is, can they win the split push? Because KT has a lot of disengage tools, and Hippo is getting quite low here with the Fiora ult. Is just going to eat Fiora, try and time out this ultimate, and he's going to succeed. And Someday actually getting very low right now. Score here to back him up, and there's the smoke bomb coming through. Someday walks forward and tags him one more time.
Here.
Crush on the flank, and that was a very interesting use of the Devour from Tom Kench, just trying to time out the ultimate so Someday couldn't get the heal. Ends up working. And they commit topside, don't get the kill. That means mFire has some Nice free time onto the bottom turret.
It just shows his understanding of this champion and the opposing laner too. So Hippo definitely a different player from the last game. I think.
And he's picked up the. I mean, looks like he's going for the Frozen Heart here.
Big.
Which is smart. I mean, we've got 280 carries and a Fiora on the enemy team. That's going to be a pretty big hit in terms of the damage output.
And it gives you slightly kill pressure the Tom Kench that can have if he goes in was an attacking item. So their armor too, an MR.
Uh-oh, Ignar gonna flash more. Crush punts it out. Score is there with the burst, and he's going to get it, even though he is knocked out of the fight by Poppy. Picks it up with the collateral damage. And that's enough. 1 kill over to KT Rolster. Someday now going to find some time alone with the turret. Hippo went down into the mid lane, and that may have been a mistake. He's just giving up his turret right now, and he used his ult to get down there, and he's not using his TP to come back to the top side. Now Edge here on the run. Bombs are going to miss, and Chaos Storm dropped. Does enough damage to Arrow to end the siege.
And that turret was full health when Hippo went down, so that's a lot of advantage that they've given up to this KT side just because of that poor pathing.
Yeah, Crush probably was not savable right there, and we still see the Tom Kench go in with that Abyssal Voyage flash into knockback here. And then there you go, still get the kill. And Tom Kench shows up, but the party's over.
Another 1v1 here.
I imagine we're going to see a lot more of this, Justin. Someday now is wise to the tricks, though. He's not ulting. Crush is here. Are we going to see this? Oh, Cougar's here, too. There's the spear, and he's going to block the rest of it with the riposte, but there's still just too much damage. KT couldn't get up to the top lane in time. Much different fight, though. Somebody didn't even use his ult that time.
Or his flash.
Holding on to that. Learn from his previous mistakes. Cougar actually stuns himself by picking up the second bomb, but EMFire now with the siege onto the second turret. And this is great. They're finding their openings. Nice block there of the headbutt. Poppy W. Edge is stunned though, and Score comes through, doesn't finish the kill. 2 summoners used, heal and flash by Edge as he's caught out in the front line.
That damage output though is crazy. That ultimate.
Oh yeah, combine that with some Corky ults, and the double bomb, and that is a recipe for some very high burst.
Very back and forth this game.
Has been. Fly also mixing up his build, going for an Abyssal Scepter, so he might be a little bit more mana starved this time around. Doesn't have the mana regen that he would have with Thrall Nomicon, nor does he have the tier for the big mana pool. So this time, he's going to be just worried primarily about trading with Victor and the damage that Victor can bring out. He's going to have to pick and choose which bombs he wants to go for, though.
Yeah, the tower's about to go down. Tom Kench here, but not going to be able to save it at this point.
It's too late, and the minions pick up the kill. Someday just walks straight out, not wanting to find any more members of EMFire moving to the side of the map. So he'll escape. Died once, but does get the tower. A little bit more global gold for his teammate, now building Phage for some extra movement speed here.
And health for the Titanic Hydra.
Yeah. Crush once again caught out. Ignar lets him get over the wall. So this CC was there, but the damage was not. Still not contesting this blue buff, watching it go while they just continue to push up the mid lane. They have swapped Zillion into the side lane for some wave clear. Maybe not where you want that Zillion to be, but finally we may be looking at the second dragon of the game. Would be very late, but KT setting up around in the river.
Trying to get some vision out, but vision's being cleared by KT.
Yeah, they're
Both top laners have TP.
yes, they do. In a very good situation right now. They're trying to force a face check to get some poke damage down before they commit to this objective, but again, the waves just not in their favor. They have to back off. Gonna keep the river dark with a couple of pink wards. Someday they're waiting to see what he can do. Hippo gonna face check this brush. No response from Someday as the ward goes into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, top different thing is the Fiora cannot just freely split push against this Tom Kench anymore. It's just not gonna die.
Well, not yet. We'll see what happens when Fiora gets 2 or 3 more items. There we go. A bit of an engage, but Ignar is there. Gets a couple bombs popped on his head to discourage mFire from going in. Still just pushing out those waves. Rylai's here for Edge. Man, they are going so hard for the utility in the CC to stop dives from KT.
But they're respecting the Zillion pick, also Something's ability to just go ham on Fiora.
Yeah, they definitely are. Comes through. Uh-oh, Poppy knocked up, does take some damage from the second time bomb there, and Hippo now getting low. He has been ulted, and Someday here actually is going to win the duel this time. Comes through and gets the kill. I think he reposted the Devour, actually, right there, and that meant that he wasn't eaten during his ultimate like he was in the last little scuffle in the top lane.
Learning from his previous mistakes.
Big, big change. All right, the dive is being threatened. Ignar wrapping around the side. Here we go. They're going to find Edge in the back and try and burst him. It's just not enough damage, though. Ignar getting low. He is going to get revived with the Chrono Shift, but Gravity Field goes down, and that is a stunned cow.
Yeah, too far behind. Was not able to follow up KT at all. Other than those arrow bombs by Quirky, but
yeah, Fiora just not there either. There you go. Flash out now. Someday back in the mid lane. We're going to try and follow this up. Someday is knocked away by the Poppy ultimate. Guger tries to finish it up. Arrow with 1 rocket takes a kill onto Soul's Callista. So they may have the opportunity they need now that Someday is back to take down this turret and then move into the dragon.
the over-aggression by both supports turning this game around quickly. Back and forth, and they're trying to go for this second drag of this game. First drag for KT.
Yes, they are. So they are going to take it out. First dragon for KT, who got their first dragon at 10 minutes in the last game. Very much like. Let's take a look at this Someday fight right here. He's going to come in and actually try and get this down. And looked like the Devour was reposted by Someday. And so he couldn't get in there to finish off the Fiora that time. Great prediction. That's a very subtle animation to repost too. Be quite quick on that.
Now we're seeing what KT does best, trying to invade their jungle, trying to check or get a face check.
They do get one. Do find a bomb stun. Guger on the tankier side at this point, and having taken that Aegis of the Legion, so avoiding some of that damage through the prioritization of MR. Score here. Mob Malmortius, we've seen the mixed feelings around this item, but with the Victor Burst and the fact the score is going to be on the front line, having the Maw is, I think, definitely worthwhile as opposed to going for the more damage-oriented Yomu's Ghostblade.
We're definitely respecting Edge. And we can see that from both Maul and Abyssal Scepter coming in from Fly. Different itemization from the last game.
And I love what Edge is doing too, just picking up the Frost Queen's Flame into the Rylai's. Just a ridiculous amount of slows and zone control on this Victor. The Gravity Field also, and that the Gravity Field and his ability to kite was the major factor why KT couldn't actually complete that turret dive. They're still behind in gold here at 28 minutes. So for mFire, it's going to come down to their ability to play around this Baron, because like you said earlier, Justin, they're great at kiting, but they have to be in a position to kite. And that means they need to be on the Baron and baiting it.
Because they do not have any sort of hard engage other than Fair Call and by Callista.
Yeah, that's not an enviable position. Something going to be knocked around under the turret right here. And Hippo doing work. TP forced out. Fly will complete it. Not going to eat the Gravity Field stun. Does manage to get out, but the Iceborne Gauntlet here from Hippo actually doing a lot of work against Someday.
I want to see if somebody could just lifesteal his way out, change over to that Ravenous Hydra instead of Titanic.
Well, that's what he's going to do. Indeed. And He's also going to get a Bloodthirster. So here we go again. Hippo caught out. Grounded Field going to stun up Ignar. Hippo now pops his shield, but he is so far away. Someday is TP'd in, and now he's on the edge. He's going to flash over to find Edge beyond the wall. Oh, that is a Poppy ult reposted by Someday. What an impressive play. Cougar snatched out of the jaws of death here by Soul. Someday locked up further. Ignar still pursuing on the backside. And this is why Someday is one of the best Fiora players.
His repost timing has been perfect for the past.
That was ridiculous. He could have predicted that coming, but man, he has been on point. Looked a little bit messy on that last trade, but he TPs and immediately redeems himself.
Yeah, playing the Fiora is like the words of Riot that repost is what differentiates between a good Fiora and a great Fiora.
I think Someday is one of the latter, the great Fioras for sure. It's been super impressive in every Fiora performance we've seen this season. So, Tier 2 in the bottom side goes to KT. They take their first gold lead, really, of the game now.
1K at 30 minutes, not that big though.
Oh, no. No. I agree, definitely not the biggest of deals. The mFire has many ways to get back into this one. Let's take a look at this team fight again. So Ignar here, he's going to get stunned up, but Hippo has to use his shield early. Let's take a look at Someday. So he gets into the brush, flashes over, and there's the riposte. And it actually gets the stun onto Edge, too, from having that knockup. And that is going to be the finisher on that kill. KT now sniffing around this Baron, and this is where they need to be. mFire is great at kiting, but if they have to engage on a Baron, that is not going to be very effective from the team composition that they have selected.
Yeah, you have to force them to come in, not engage, but with Fiora just split pushing and it's going to be 4v1, they're going to have to 5v4 at some point, because no one can stop this Fiora.
KT going to have to wait, though, because they do have the TP disadvantage. So they can't really actually threaten the Baron right now. They can only sit there and start to play with the vision until Fiora gets the TP, and then they can do the bait that they actually want to proceed with. Otherwise, too risky just to have a 4v5 while you're on the Baron itself. If they're actually quite good now when the Iceborne Gauntlet has been completed.
Decent.
He has another longsword here instead of completing his Bloodthirst, so he just didn't have enough money when he went back.
For higher damage output, I guess.
Yeah, for the short-term gain. I'm curious how KT is going to finish this one, because they just simply aren't going to be able to play the same dive game that they did in Game 1 of the series, and by going for the same composition on blue side, it almost seems like a certain level of disrespect, considering that mFire has managed to draft a pretty good counter.
And then, yeah, mFire's utilizing that disrespect, adapting in between games, so they telling them that you cannot do the same thing to us as you did last game.
Yeah, definitely, that's what has caused this game to drag out longer, is that mFire has much better tools to deal with it in game number 2. Game number 1 ended in a very short 29 minutes, but KT's not going to have that luxury. They're going to have to play around Baron baiting this time, not just the pushing that we saw in game number 1 of the series.
What I can see KT doing is just utilizing the Fiora, slowly chip away on the both top tower turret, maybe rotations to get some more objectives, and then turn it into a Baron.
Yeah, that's what I think that's what they have to do. Right now, they have that vision control still. Remove a Sentinel here and some wards with the Raptor buff. But this is going to be the way they win, is threatening the Fiora 1v1 now that they have TP back up, and trying to make them face check into this Baron while Someday, packages down. Try and move a little bit forward here to get one bomb onto Edge. Don't land the second one. Edge here, now there's Death Ray. And look at that, they're actually just going to move forward. Ignar dives, gets the knockup, but has to ult just to back off. They was purely zoning while they took the turret.
lot of a go away flash pulverize engage.
Yeah, so just using the Alistar to get the objective more serious for the time being. That's about all they could do right there.
Arrow still on the top side.
He's trying to land whatever poke he can. They don't know that they're not doing Baron right now, actually. You can suspect without the Alistar ult that it would be a bit risky.
There is that Sentinel though.
Sentinel wrapping around from the topside river, and KT just wants to get back. Oh, Soul. Way too far out. Cougar is here. He's got to charge up his ultimate, going to knock Arrow away, but Score is still here, and so is Fly. Nice job on the knockback, and that's going to kill Sky. They get a nice chain CC on him. Fly goes down. Score now has to back off with the help of his Ghostblade. Crush, though, trying to follow up. Score gets his shield procced from the Maw of Malmortius. Will disengage with a successful smoke screen, but wow, that was some great poppy play from Cougar.
Yeah, great flash, saving onto that flash too by Soul. It seemed like he was dead on that point, but managed to turn it around and taking a Baron off of this.
Yeah, they're going to try. They still have to deal with the poke. Score is here, could steal, and Someday has his TP. They're just going to take it though. Someday not using his summoner to come in, and they give it up. So mFire, nice transition off those kills. Fly there just was knocked from the heroic charge straight into the gravity field and then exploded before he had a chance to do anything. I mean, this is just, look at this poppy play too, just coming in from the Fate's Call, great awareness and edge with the follow-up CC. It did look like Victor had a small amount of time to actually cast Chrono Shift right there. It wasn't perfectly chained, but Fly misses that timing.
Disengaging from both sides. Great utilization of both Poppy Ult and Fatal.
All right, so here we go. Back into the mid lane. See how far mFire really want to push this. With Someday's TP still up, they may be a tad reluctant to go too deep into the lane. Waves have been pushed out on either side of the map so far for KT, so they have some time to play with here. Big wave developing at the bottom side though, so someone is going to have to go clearing that out eventually. Soul popping forward and taking advantage of a brief time. Auto attack down onto the turret. KT has a choice to make whether they're going to try and defend this tier 2 or whether they're going to let these massive waves at top and bottom smash into their turrets. Nice stun.
The bot side wave is huge though, the tower's definitely going to go down.
Yeah, it is absolutely massive. More wave clear for the time being, but this may be the wave they lose it on. Pushing out in just the last second. Using those bombs to zone, and Fiora is still in Tahm Kench's gut, and now Someday dashes out back to the safety of his turret. Frost Queen's claim goes down. Bot lane turret is going to die to the massive wave, and KT may well lose 3 turrets now.
Nice. Fiora opting to teleport from behind.
Oh, they're going for the play during the Baron buff. He's zooming around. Where's he going to find? He's going to ult Edge immediately. Goodbye, Edge. Now he's on top of Crush. Soul going to save Cougar with the Fate's Call. Himbo comes into the fight with his teleport just to try and clear this up, or his ultimate rather. Going to eat Graves, but Graves gets out. Crush now, he is caught. And Someday picks up the kill over the wall.
He blew up Edge in a second.
Yeah, that was... He found the target, went after him immediately. Edge didn't use his flash to get out of there. Someday finds him in the back line and follows up, chasing down 2 members of mFire during their Baron buff. And now they're going to counter push. They may have lost those 3 turrets, but they're going to take an inhibitor.
Yeah, so Someday definitely a great choice he made. She's just decided to give up that top tower turret and make a play 4v5, knowing that Tahm Kench is trying to push out the top side. And this may be game.
Yeah, they're pushing it right now. Still those death timers. Soul's going to get knocked right into the middle of the fight. Does. And that's going to be the ultimate, popping a large amount of healing now for KT as they push through these Nexus turrets, and a decisive comeback victory from KT Rolster. looked a little grim, but they punish EMFire for the overextension. Someday comes up big, and they're able to take the win with the long death timers after the engagement in the mid lane.
It just shows why you don't give this champion to Someday. Fiora's on Someday is a whole different deal than other players.
Yeah, really, him and Smeb, top of the game here, and just something that makes it very difficult to deal with KT. EMFire, they took a good advantage off that fight. They did the right thing. They took the bear and they took the turrets, but Someday was so strong in the end that with that flank, he was able just to instantly